science fiction and fantasy enthusiasts, and welcome to our podcast. With Ryan Sean O'Reilly, David Wilkinson, and Richard Mell. You're listening to No Deodorant in Outer Space. Now, let's get started.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of No Deodorant in Outer Space. My name is Ryan Sean O'Reilly, and joining me on this episode, per usual, is Richard Mell.
Yeah, hello, how are you doing? Oh, yes. Wilk, your turn.
Hi, this is Dave Wilkinson. And my goal is to get Ryan to go out and buy cigarettes. So that's my focus.
Yeah, Ryan,
we need
to send you on an errand right now.
That's really all I care about right now in life is Ryan going to 7-Eleven.
I like that.
Not that I even want to smoke. I just know he doesn't want to go. Just like, that's how small
let's get you go. Get your ass up.
Can I get Ryan?
Come on.
So will Ryan do something he doesn't want to do to help out a friend?
Ryan, so you gotta get some cigarettes.
We are.
The answer's no.
It's a rare episode where the three of us are together in person. We are here in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which we were last February.
Thank you guys, by the way.
We drove up here, me and Rick, and to see Wilk, and we are together in person to record our final episode for season 3 and our final episode, period.
And by the way, after this episode's recorded here, we should go out and have a beer somewhere in Ypsi to celebrate and get some cigarettes. Can we all agree on that?
Yes, but I don't think anyone's fit to drive.
You're for the drive?
No.
No? Fuck. God damn it, Ryan.
Sorry.
Stay sober! Do they deliver cigarettes anywhere?
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll find out after this. So this is
after this? Yeah. God damn it, Laura, go get some cigarettes.
So,
also, I don't smoke.
Besides our need for cigarettes, which is just a compulsion at this point.
Why would you not bring cigarettes? That's my question. God damn it.
This is our final episode of season 3. Season 3, we covered, of course, another 12 books.
Yeah.
Let me just go through the books we covered real quick. We covered Stepford Wives. We covered Flowers for Algernon. We covered Watchmen. We covered Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We covered Lair of the White Worm. We covered Roadside Picnic, Lathe of Heaven, Hellbound Heart, Man in the High Castle, Golden Compass, Devil Rides Out, and Dune. So that was season 3, and we're going to use this episode, this wrap up, to kind of
it's all coming together.
Kind of go back through those.
Some more beer.
What? Our episodes. Beer. Yeah, there's more beer.
Yeah.
There's you have to open up
let
that
it
new
flow,
beer.
You know.
I'm literally absorbing
there's
energy.
There's foam coming out from the.
Let me just see. Let's go to you, Rick. Is there any books or movies that really stood out to you this year that were like your favorite, that you enjoyed over other ones?
Yeah, Wilk, you got a pretty good impression on me right now. I'm in the basement of your house.
I just want to bark.
Yeah. Well, anyway. We have ventured up here, and we have just seen Mulholland Drive. Jesus Christ!
So, is there any books that you particularly enjoyed?
Yeah.
Yes. I like. Give me some choices here.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like the. I read Dune, which is fucked up.
Well, let me say, I love Dune, okay, but I've read it before. But to me, Roadside Picnic was a real gem in the...
Was that this year or last year?
That was this year. That was early on this year. Well, no, episode 6. I really thought Roadside Picnic was like the gem that I hadn't read before. I know you guys liked that episode as well.
Did I walk out in the episode?
Let's just let time run.
Did you guys enjoy that book?
Yeah, it was all right. It was a good book, you know. Right. Let's like it. It was a good book, you know.
Yeah. No, Dune. Yes,
Dune. So, but Dune is like a longtime favorite of yours. Well, like besides Dune, like what did you? Was there something new that you hadn't heard before? Or you guys read before?
Can I like cue where the DJ comes in and like? Let's switch all that.
Right.
Let's not talk about. Let's talk about life and like. There's 3 of us here. We're all almost 40.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a while. We're into the podcast, but like, what brought us together and why? I mean, like, I want to keep hanging out with you guys. Who gives a fuck about? I mean, like, people should read good books. I hope that we brought attention to these good books in some shape, way, or form. And I don't care if you learn anything from our podcast, because go learn. You just listen to us talk, but you can learn on your own. You gotta learn. I don't believe in teaching. I believe in learning.
You need to, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think the point to a podcast like this is? Do you think it helps to bring books to people's awareness that might not otherwise check it out?
Absolutely. My favorite podcast, since you didn't ask, but I will ask, I like the Vonnegut podcast. I think Vonnegut, to me, was a prophet and a poet. I wanted to name our podcast originally after Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway? He's very important to me.
You got it, yeah.
Yeah, Ernest Hemingway. Oh my God. But there's some authors out there that really kind of channel the human existence from above and beyond. And I kind of felt like Vonnegut does that. And I'm glad we did Vonnegut.
And he was from season 2.
And again, it's on the internet. Ryan, this is our last show, so who cares? Who fucking cares about what season it was on?
No, that was a good episode. I think we all enjoyed the Vonnegut experience.
I really enjoyed talking. And again, see that beer over there? I was really sad. I literally was driving down to meet you guys. No bullshit. My car broke down, and that's when I learned that my car has a factory defect in there where it can't drive more than 100 miles without shutting down. It's like this bizarre fucking Nissan Altima, whatever you want to call it thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it works fine. I've been driving ever since then. It's like I have to stop driving for half an hour, and then it cools down, and I come back here. Yeah. And I drank that beer. Ryan, can you grab that big bottle of beer on my shelf there? What's that called? It's like something. It's called The End of the World.
It's called La Fin du Monde.
Right. And it was a delicious fucking beer, and I've kept it here as a memorial to that day. But that was my favorite episode. And it was bittersweet because I really wanted to come hang out with you guys there. I'm glad we're here right now. But if we do one thing, I want to bring Vonnegut to the people. And
Jesus. Yeah. Vonnegut.
You
know, Will, it's funny because you've never visited the Vonnegut house.
I know. I will, maybe.
Yeah, we had that. We had
never
full
been
experience
to the house.
Yeah.
But I visited you. That's the important thing. We're here together.
Yeah.
I'd like to come up to the house.
Right.
Why don't I bring my cousin on? Let's get his little cameo.
My glasses are all fucking cloudy and shit.
The filmmaker cousin who had a baby recently, right?
Yes.
He's a very nice gentleman. I liked his film, and he wanted to do Jurassic Park. And
I think you're right about that.
What's that?
I think you're right. He did want to do Jurassic Park.
He did. And I would have done Jurassic Park with him. Michael Crichton was an amazing, interesting person. He's a lawyer like Ryan is, or was. He's also very tall. He was 7 feet. He's almost 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he was brilliant. He actually directed movies, and then he wrote books.
Ryan, get us some smokes. Please? Don't make me beg. Please.
Hello?
Hello.
Mike.
Yeah, go.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This is Mike O'Reilly, my cousin. He was on season 1 and season 2. I think, what episodes did he do? He did True Detective, and he also did, what was the first season
We like this cousin. He's a nice guy.
The Richard Matheson book.
Oh, yeah, I Am Legend. Oh,
God, that was a great book, too.
I guess.
Shout out to Chris Kurt, who first got me into that. Hey, can you guys give me a beer or something?
Yes.
Here, there's another beer right there. Open that up.
Keep it going. Keep the flow. Yeah.
I'm trapped. I'm trapped. I don't know.
Open the beer.
I don't want to move because I'm.
You got the bottle opener right here.
Microphone in front of me.
Mike, it's pretty loose tonight.
Let me try to figure this out.
It's pretty loose.
Oh,
it's going to take a lot of concentration here for Rick to open a beer.
It's loose like an old.
It's fucking it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen.
It's like an old.
Pour it in the vessel.
Okay, so Mike, this is our season 3 wrap up episode. We're bringing you back. You were actually supposed to be on season 3, but you didn't. You got busy with life. A lot of changes. You've been working. You worked on another movie that's going to be out soon. You're now a father. So a lot of big changes. And you were busy. You were going to come on our Invasion of the Body Snatchers episode.
Silly.
Big serious changes. Yep.
We're all friends here. Let's just talk, man.
Yeah.
So, Mike,
tonight.
You listened, I think, all of our episodes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think all of them.
So, from your perspective, what have you liked about the show or not liked?
Yeah.
I mean, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers episode, you were supposed to come on that one, but you were too busy. But, you heard that episode. Any comments or thoughts from you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good book. I'm obviously a fan of it. I'm a big fan of the book, a big fan of the 1956 version. I didn't see the 70s version with Donald Sutherland, which, I mean, I know that's kind of a difficult episode to find, which I didn't know until recently. It was on iTunes.
It was on and off again. Do you like being a dad? You're a first-time dad, right?
Being a dad's fun.
You have one child or two?
Oh.
It's a lot of work, man. How old is your son? Or
he is 10 months.
Congratulations. It's nice talking in person. That's awesome, dude.
That's great.
Thank you. Appreciate
Well,
it.
let me ask you, this is something I wanted to get into. Mike, you're a big fan of that early episode of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And I think when we talked about that work, the 70s version was very popular. So remakes is like one of the things that we've kind of talked about on this podcast. And Rick, let me turn to you. Like, you, I think, a lot of times don't like older stuff.
No, it's a little bit more. It's a bit stilted. You know, I
like stuff from the 50s.
It's way too formal. It doesn't flow enough for me. You know, everything's just sort of like I don't know. It's too formulated, too contained. I remember coming up to Jesus.
Well, let me ask. This season, we covered a bunch of remakes. We covered The Lathe of Heaven. The original one was done by the PBS, and then they did a later one. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There was the 50s one and the 70s version. Dune. We did a version by David Lynch, and then we did a later version by the Sci-Fi Channel. Algernon, where there was an older one and a newer one. I mean, like Wilk, or let me go to you, Mike. What's your thoughts on like remakes and stuff? And like, you know, you were really happy with the 1950s version of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. How do you feel about when someone tries to redo something? Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
Well, I think generally it's been a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
But, you know, for instance, you guys talk about the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The movie The Invasion with Nicole Kidman, I found that one to be pretty much unwatchable. I thought it was god-awful. I didn't see the 90s version.
Bad. Is Nicole Kidman?
But,
she is, yes.
Yeah, she's in, it's called Body Snatchers, right?
And the Bond guy.
No.
Yeah, and Craig, what's his name?
Mike, was there like some studio problem that too? Like there was like some kind of studio switch up, or that was a mess of a movie, dude.
I guess they had a lot of directors. They went through a lot of directors, which I know that happens, but this, I guess, was kind of a fiasco. But other than that, I don't really know much more about it.
But let me, on the counterpoint to that, Rick, you're not a fan of older stuff. God. Like you like the 70s version of the Body Snatchers a lot more. Right? Yeah,
much more liberating. You know, Gene Wilder, is that his name? Yes.
No, not Gene Wilder wasn't in that, I don't think.
No. Was it?
No, that was, what's his name?
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland,
yes. Gosh. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Will, but how do you feel about directors remaking old stuff? I mean, is that just Hollywood churning out something that's reliable? Is it a good idea or a bad idea?
God, this reminds me of like the Seinfeld where like Kramer's sitting there in the old studio set asking questions. How do I feel about it? Fuck you, that's how I feel about it. But like, I mean, I guess if director wants to remake something, great, super, yay, he can remake shit. We're all gonna die. It's what you do in between the matters, man.
Right.
I gotta need to know what you guys are drinking tonight.
We are. Oh my God!
Over here, and
I'm very happy right now.
I'm just happy. You know,
let's just put it this way, Mike. It's very hard to get coherent conversations going tonight, and the rest of the night's gonna be a big challenge.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, good.
Mike,
I feel great. Me, so I'm feeling pretty warm.
Where are you right now, Mike?
Ask more questions.
I am in Upper Michigan. I'm at the cabin.
Really? You're at the cabin, so you're like in the middle of nowhere.
I'm in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
It's cold up there.
My baby and my lady are upstairs sleeping.
Yeah, okay, sorry, go on, Ryan. I'm no good here.
That's correct. Let me ask you, Will, get to a little content here.
Yes.
So, one of the things we talked about on the show is TV adaptions versus film adaptions of books. Okay. And right now, TV adaptions are pretty hot. You got Game of Thrones and others. Like, there's all kinds of new mediums open with Netflix and Amazon and stuff.
Rules have changed, yes.
So, I mean, what's your opinion on TV adaptions versus film adaptions, like in general? Well, let me ask you that.
In general, I mean, I feel like the cinematic medium is very important because you're trying to tell one story over a finite period of time, which is important.
Yes.
However, if you want to tell a longer story, a longer narrative, TV has lent itself to that too. But I think, to me, art, the painting on the wall, is the American film. I think the American cinema and Italian cinema, actually, the two of them together, have really pioneered modern art as cinema, and that should be treasured. Telling a single story over a 2 to 3 hour time period is something that's really important to me. The presentation, the way it's shown, theatrical should be preserved and loved. And
do you think that there's some books or stories that are better done as TV series?
No. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
seriously. Because it's like saying, is there some art that's better done?
Lonesome Dove could not have been done as a theatrical movie.
Lonesome Dove?
No, but you're being unambitious now. Be an artist. I mean, like, if your art is making a movie, make it a fucking movie. It doesn't matter what the original source material was. I mean, everything is nothing in the eyes of the creator. So, I mean, if you're going to create something, create it, man. Just make a movie, make a film, make it short, make it long, but like, fuck the source material, make it your own. That's why Dune, the movie by David Lynch, I like it more and more. I gotta be honest, because David Lynch just has said, fuck it. I love Dune. Here's my movie. Jeez. That's why it's better than the sci-fi series.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you, Mike. You're an independent filmmaker. Yeah. What's your take on that? Like TV adaptions versus film adaptions. I mean, TV seems to be kind of big right now because of the new outlets. What's your read of the scene?
Well, I kind of agree in that movies are special to me, so that I do treasure the actual experience of going and seeing a movie in a theater and the whole theatrical experience, as opposed to watching something on TV, which is, I know this is kind of the way we view all of our content now, is on your phone or on a screen at home, but I still appreciate the movie process. But I do think that some things are well adapted to TV. I mean, there are a lot of miniseries. Miniseries are great. I don't like, these shows that go on and on and on, with obviously a few exceptions.
That's awesome.
Is it like,
this is awesome.
I mean, in one sense, Wilk is saying it doesn't matter what it is, adapt it to film. But then you're saying, like, and sometimes the source material might be more suited to TV. Rick, what do you think about that? Is some things better suited to a miniseries on TV?
Well, you need both perspectives, and you need double take, basically. As Garrick Munichol would look at something one time, and he would look at it another time. Like,
where'd my beer go?
You need two different perspectives on the same thing.
Hey, can you pass it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you're interrupting me on purpose.
No. I'm really not. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
So is it the source material that should guide the producer or whatever on what should be the adaptation should be?
Okay, guys,
film or TV?
I ain't the fucking Oracle. Please, just you gotta back the fuck off. I cannot fucking tell you. Seriously.
Well, Mike, let's go to you, Mike. Let's go to you.
Jesus.
How do you feel about that?
This is being filmed.
Hold on a second, Mike.
What's your question?
Yeah.
Do you think that the source material, whether it be a book or short, probably more of a book, should, or a book series like Game of Thrones, is that what should dictate to the director whether or not it should be adapted to TV in a miniseries?
How are you going to take a series like Game of Thrones or a giant book like The Lord of the Rings and make that into a 2-hour movie? I just don't see how that's possible.
Well, how would you? That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see how you would do that, though.
Well, Peter Jackson...
I mean, yeah, if someone could do it right, yeah, they would be geniuses and it would be good, but I mean, it's a lot of material.
Yeah.
I guess it comes down to, do you like Jackson Pollock or not?
Yeah,
no.
I like him.
Me too.
He says fuck it, and he's just fucking
throw that shit against the wall.
He's fucking it,
Well, Mike, you're saying no to that.
Yeah.
Mike, no on you, Mike.
Why no from you, Mike?
Yeah.
No, why no what?
To Jackson Pollock.
This is going on the record, Mike.
Is that a real question?
It is.
Yeah, it's official.
No, it's official. Sorry. Yeah. No, I mean...
I don't understand. Is that...
No, the question is this. I mean, like, clearly you can't... I'm saying you shouldn't try and aspire to put, like, a 1,000-page book into a 2-hour movie, but you should try and imprint something that you got out of that 1,000-page book or 3,000-page book.
I get that. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's your painting on the wall. I mean, like, the Mona Lisa, any great artist, when they look at something, they use their skills and trade to create something as a monument to that. So what if you want to say that life is beautiful? I mean, can you do it in a 2-hour movie? No, but you can do your best.
That was a movie. There was a movie called Life.
There was.
Yeah.
So yes. I guess, Wilk, what you're saying is movies are high art, and there is a lot of skill in taking something and boiling it down to a 2-hour movie process.
Yes. I'm saying American cinema is a skill that should be celebrated.
Yeah, American cinema is a kind of a repetitive process. It's refined. It goes through sort of kind of like a sausage.
You're right.
Meat processing sort of.
Forgive me.
It's a drooling
American cinema
process.
was wrong. Cinema, art is cinema can be art. Americans right now are making shitty like Transformers movies. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. No.
I mean, you just got to look a little harder.
It's all. We need to look hard, right?
Well, okay, so then, all right. I think we covered that. So then, like, Mike, let me ask you, as someone who's been following the show, what have you, from your outside perspective, what have you liked or disliked about the show? I mean, what have you got out of it, or what's funny or not funny, or?
Well, I don't know. I won't listen to something if I find it completely boring, even if it is by a relative of mine.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
This is not boring.
It's always fun because I know you guys, and I'm
like you.
interested in the material, and I know the movies, and a lot of the movies. Some of them I don't know, but honestly, I get to learn about some of these books that I've never read, and some of the movies I've never seen.
Can I get beer?
Yeah, like let me keep the beer flowing to you.
No, last time I saw it was a disaster. I'm not trying to. Sorry, but like,
pull that mic closer to you, Will.
Well, Ryan, seriously, last time I got to get beer myself.
I know you knocked everything over.
The world.
All right, Mike. Do you have any final comments for us? We can let you go and move on here.
No, good show. I've enjoyed it. It was fun coming on the show, and
Mike,
you guys sound like you're having a lot of fun. I wish I could be there.
I wish you were too, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Sorry, Mike.
Thank you for joining us on the previous episodes.
You're a good dude. He's a good dude. I like Mike.
We appreciate and if anyone wants to visit, you do have you have some of your stuff is on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I have a YouTube page.
What's the
House of Mike?
What's it literal? What is it under? Mike O'Reilly?
It's under Mike O'Reilly. The best way to get to it is. That's a good question. I don't even know.
Come on,
just
Mike.
do a search for Mike O'Reilly
come out with it.
Do a search for Mike O'Reilly on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a link through our YouTube channel for No Deodorant Outer Space as well. You can find Mike's stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Mike, and good luck with your films and stuff. And we look forward.
Sound like you're having fun.
We are.
We're having fun.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Enjoy it.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Keep it together, Ryan. Keep it together.
Well, let me ask you, like, the roadside picnic episode, we had some walk-offs.
Did we?
And also we had some walk-offs on Dune.
Yeah.
So let's talk about let's talk for a minute about walk-offs and the frustration of the podcast.
1984 too. I think I walked off on that one.
Oh yeah,
because you fuckheads went to a play without me. I was like, what the fuck? So you are
okay. Dole's ready. All right, we're calling Dole. Get on the mic.
Good Christ Almighty! The man in the skirt's ready.
We're calling Dole.
Dole,
what sad
great
story is Dole gonna have?
How are you?
Hey, yes. What horrible life event to share right now?
I'm sorry, Dole. I am a fucking slave right now to the fucking Dole.
Just want some goddamn cigarettes, Dole.
Jesus, Dole.
Hello, Dole.
Dole, are you out there?
Hi, Dole.
Okay, Dole.
Hi, Dole.
Put on the headphones so you can hear Dole, you idiot.
I want to hear.
Put on the fucking headphones. Dole, you're really walking into it tonight.
Are you guys already rolling?
Yes. That's a word.
Yeah.
Are you rolling and rolling?
Yes. It's great, dude.
Yeah. Dole. Good day,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to bring something up. When we got Dole on here, Dole, you've been a long-time contributor to the podcast. You've been on every season for various episodes. What episodes did you on? You were on Devil's Rides Out. You were on the Ray Bradbury version.
He wrote the music. The music's good.
He wrote the theme music. You were on.
You like Dole?
What was the other episode you were on, Dole?
What's the nice guy?
Jeez. I'm losing my memory here. So, I was on not Roadside Picnic. I'm sorry. The Ray Bradbury book.
Yeah, Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, that's what it was. That's
1984. 1984. Good stuff.
Why do I always find Dole?
I want to say it was the second one I did.
Yeah, 1984 you did second, and Devil's Rides Out you did third.
Devil's Rides Out was a good episode.
1984, that was it. 1984,
yes.
And I wrote you guys a song for that one too, right?
Yes. 1984 is I've heard that the sales for the book 1984 skyrocketed recently because of what? Because of Trump.
Wow, that's who you voted for, probably.
You guys like trying every fucking angle to engage my ass.
Well, let me ask you guys.
It's like completely fucking.
Donald Trump came up on this podcast. Yeah. We're doing a science fiction and fantasy podcast. Right. This season 3, the presidential election came up this year. It pervaded a lot of episodes.
He deserved the win. He deserved the win. Right. You know why? Because people are weak.
Why did it come up on our podcast? Why does it come up on a science fiction fantasy podcast?
I don't know.
Dole, why do you
guys gotta try and figure that out?
I mean, why did
Rick and I are political minded?
Why did Donald Trump come up on a science fiction and fantasy book review podcast? Why were we talking about him?
So we're friends. We talk about shit.
Why didn't he? I thought we did talk.
No, about why did he? Why did Donald Trump come up?
Dole, Ryan's being a host right now. That's really irritating.
That's simple. Well, first of all, 1984 is about a dystopian society where the whole government is watching you and your every move, and you can't really live in a free environment. You can't do what you want anymore.
It's just like right now.
And your only nicotine. Reason for living is to contribute to
I want some gin.
To the government's needs. Yeah. And that's basically what Trump wants.
Yeah, right. It's not... I mean, my God, whatever.
We're in a dungeon right now.
Well, Rick, you brought up Donald Trump like constantly in the podcast. Why?
He's a dick. Donald Trump's a dick.
It makes me feel like a caged animal, really. I mean, I'm like, I'm fucking taking a pull on my goddamn ale right now.
It's like, hey, I got a blanket on. Yeah, I'm like,
Dole, I don't know what's going on right now.
Oh my God.
I can't believe this is happening. I love you. I've known you for a long time. What is going on? This is like
sheets close to the window.
Is this the last act?
We're more than a few sheets. Some people, let's just say, we started doing pretty well before we even started, and then they put on David Lynch's Mulholland Drive.
Oh God! Now, forgive me because I don't keep track on social media, but like I know I've seen. Rick and Ryan are guests in my home, and they can see all the political shit on the walls here. We're very anti-Trump, and we live in a very Muslim neighborhood and a very Muslim town, and we have Muslim friends and Muslim neighbors. And
oh my God! Aren't you worried about a terrorist attack?
No.
We're kind of
swimming in one right now.
We have differences here.
Aren't you worrying about Sharia law in your hometown?
Sharia law is really. I know where you're going here. I hate sarcasm, but I'll let it slide right now. But no, Sharia law is really just it's interpretation of their own 10 commandments, and that's fine, whatever. It's not a big deal. But no, I just want to tell, if I can put one thing on the podcast of positivity and love, Michigan's been a safe harbor for people from the Middle East for years, 30 or 40 years. And I know you guys are from Chicago, and you have a lot of Palestinians in Chicago, which is nice. You have a lot of people from Latin America and South America. I mean, America was always an idea, an institution that should be protected and upheld and loved. It's not about old white men hanging on the power. So fuck Trump.
Yeah, I agree.
But how does that tie into a science fiction and fantasy book review podcast? I'm serious.
I can answer this.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, have you ever seen the 1980s film They Live?
Great movie, by the way. Yes, I've seen it.
That's basically where we're living in right now. I mean,
what do you mean?
And that's total science fiction. So basically, it's science fiction, but it's crossed into reality. We're in the 1983 or 4 or whatever film. There's some continuity. 1984.
What? But
so where this film in the 1980s, the government takes over and basically you can only see that they're not really human beings, but they're aliens that are just trying to take over the world, and you can't see them except for without these special sunglasses, and it's that's sci-fi. It's all science fiction.
You're giving a very little answer. I think Ryan's looking for a broader thing though.
We now live in that
very little
fiction,
answer. He's very literal.
Cross-sectional reality. We no longer live in a normal reality. We live in the world of some bizarre.
Dole, did you take anything tonight?
Rick, I think Dole's speaking your language. What are you talking about? I mean,
he's going on right now. It's like,
Rick, what do you think about what Dole said? Are we going to be peeling our flesh and finding the reptilian population beneath?
What is going on in Dole's house?
Ryan, you're on something too, because what the fuck are you trying to engage me for? I don't know anything. All right.
You seem to know a lot. Remember when we talked about when you talked about the Prince conspiracy and how Prince was assassinated?
Hey, can I interject? Did Rick take the blue pill? Seriously, what's going on over there? He's really quiet.
Yeah, Rick is quiet. He's trying to retreat into himself.
Yeah, I am. I really want to take a nap within a nap right now. It's yeah.
You're folding through time.
Yeah, I had a dream that I was at Gaston's house.
So, Dole, you're a good dude. You get a lot of abuse from people on this show, mostly me.
Yeah, mostly you will.
Entirely me.
Entirely.
Sorry.
100% exclusive.
I'm such an asshole. But
fucking Wilk is.
But, like, you're a good dude. You're very creative. What's going on with your family, with your parents right now? Anything you want to talk about? How do you feel about the world as a whole? How can we help you? What's going on, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel generally good about my family. I definitely feel like the world is in a crossroads right now. We could head very south very quickly.
I want you to feel confident. Don't feel that. Don't be scared, man. Be strong.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to, put a safety pin on my shirt and say, oh, I need a safe space and all that crap. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like I think that just around the world, there's a lot of, extremists, and extremists by the extreme right. I just think that there's a lot of vulgar, hate speech being put out there, and a lot of. It's like we're back in the 1940s or something. It's really scary.
So, I'm just watching. I'm watching Wilk. Wilk just ripped his headphones off, and then then he went to put them back on, and the mic. He knocked the mic, and the mic started attacking him. The mic just fell down into his face.
I'm just gonna start fucking Dole.
But anyway,
you're starting to resonate here.
You're starting to resonate. The one positive thing I'll take away from all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world politically is I think that it's going to result in a lot of really creative, amazing arts.
No, Dole's making sense now. This is good art.
Yeah, I mean...
I think that there's going to be a lot of amazing film. I think there hasn't been a lot of amazing film in the last 5 years.
Transformers,
pretty mediocre, relying too much on special effects and not enough about substance.
I agree with you.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of art comes out. Same thing musically. I think music has been kind of in a lull. There hasn't been a lot of politically charged or, challenging lyrics out there. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of all this.
Look at the podcast medium. I think this is the podcast. I mean, we're ending our podcast now, right? I mean, but I believe in the podcast medium. It's a great outlet for people to express themselves. And it's been great to participate in that and to do something so niche as a science fiction and fantasy horror review book movie podcast. I mean, this is great to contribute this to the world and to
wrap it up now.
To put that out there. I mean, I think when you open yourself up to other books, to books and movies and stuff, you can increase your capacity for empathy. That's something that's important. I believe in the power of fiction and the power of storytelling. That's why I write fiction.
What's the last thing you wrote, dude? Share us the story, dude.
What's that?
You wrote that book about the woman? Short story. It was good. I read it. She was like a hoarder.
Oh, Mildred?
Mildred.
Yeah.
Self-plug.
Yeah, I have a couple stories on Amazon.
That was one of your better ones.
Yeah, that's not science fiction, but it's kind of like a little bit horror, a little suspenseful.
Didn't suck.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was all right. It was good.
But I would like to see Ryan go on a vision quest and create his masterwork.
Fix Ryan, Dole. Fix Ryan in 3 steps. What'd you do?
First step, he should drop acid.
Yes, I agree with Dole.
Second step, he should go on a vision quest.
Yeah.
What's a vision quest? Go on.
He's got to start training.
He could be kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He could drop acid or do peyote on a. You know what you should do, Ryan? You should go to this where this oil pipeline crap is going on in North Dakota and drop some peyote with those guys and live with them for a week and then come back with a
marry
story.
The pipeline.
And you know what? You could probably create an amazing sci-fi story out of that. It could involve conspiracy, CIA, weird stuff, and Native American culture with psychedelic hallucinogenics, and somehow aliens come down from our space to deliver a message to you why you're supposed to protect the pipeline and all this crazy. I don't know. You could turn something really crazy out of that. I think, and make it a political something to speak to the times.
Well, let me ask you, Dole. I mean, Wilk just stepped out on he didn't go towards the bathroom, so I don't know where he's headed. But let me ask you. Let me ask Rick, and then Wilk, maybe you can, or Dole, you can counterpoint this. Rick, what is the place of fiction in our society today? I mean, I think. of all the three of us, I think you've gotten more burned out on the podcast, on the content, on science fiction, on just fiction in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you're an engineer by trade.
Yes.
Which deals with science. And,
it's all about sort of like repeating things over and over again.
Yeah, but I think science fiction caters more towards that. But you've had some frustrations with that. What is the role in fiction for you as an adult? I mean, you've had some frustrations with that.
Yeah. Well,
do you feel like fiction doesn't have a place as you get older in your life?
No, fiction always has a place as you get older. I get pissed off with it just because I think Wilk's gone, so I can probably talk freely right now. But
you can talk freely.
Yeah.
Wilk is gone.
Jesus, I want to take a nap within a nap, guys.
But no, I mean, do you feel like fiction is frivolous? It's a frivolous pursuit at this point in your life. You have a family to raise. You have kids.
Don't try and direct the shit, okay? Because you just ain't gonna do it. Remind me of my family is to bring me back to something that I know very well, and you don't need to remind me of that. It's always in there. And it's just something that you don't forget. You bring it to eternity.
I'm sure. But what about fiction? How does fiction play a part in your life as an adult who is busy?
Yeah.
And you have other obligations. Do you feel like it doesn't have a place in your life?
It really fiction is great. You gotta delve into it. You have to kind of live in it, and you really need to sort of live it out as best as you can. Now, I am exactly.
I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about.
I am not good at living things out, obviously. So I want to take a nap within a nap and just fucking hide away.
Rick is trying to fold through time. He's trying to fold through time right now. Right.
I'm folding inside.
He's ready to take the spice.
Oh my God.
I am taking the fetal position right now.
He's ready to take the spice and fucking take the navigator's ride to the fucking solar system.
The ultimate fetal position.
Well, Dole,
how are you guys so freaking tired now? It's only 11 o'clock. Jesus.
Yeah, Will just left. I mean, everything's kind of deflated right now. I'm talking.
Well, we had to drive up here and all, but let me ask you, Dole. Then let's let Rick soak that in. I mean, in your life, and you read fiction, but you're busy. You're not. I would say, Dole, would you say you're not an avid reader? It's difficult for you to find.
I'm definitely not an avid reader.
It's difficult for you to find time. You have to be selective.
I'm so inclined, if I feel very inspired by something that I recently heard about, or
so
I don't know,
coming from that perspective, for someone who's not an avid reader, where does fiction play the part in your life? When you have, like I said to Rick, family obligations, you have work obligations, you're so much going on in your life. Why even bother taking any time at all to read a book and about fiction?
Well, let's get one thing straight. I don't really care genre-wise. Whatever I read, I usually just pick it up and read it. I don't care if it's fiction or nonfiction.
But let's make a distinction between fiction and nonfiction. Let's make a distinction between. But let me make a distinction between fiction and nonfiction, because I think nonfiction. I mean, you can read a book like you're a drummer. You could read a book about drumming. I mean, you could say there's a purpose to that. I want to get better as a drummer. But let's just focus on fiction. Maybe not just science fiction and fantasy, but just fiction in general. What's the purpose for you in engaging in fiction at this point in your life?
Well, you didn't let me finish. What I was trying to say was when I read, because I'm not an avid reader.
Yeah.
When I pick something up to read, I'm not looking for where some people might pick up fiction as a genre specifically because they want maybe an escape, and that whole attitude of an escapism from their real life. I don't read for that purpose. I read if something inspires me, I want to know more about it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, when we were reading the book that I recommended this season, The Devil Rides Out, I saw the film and it inspired me. I was like, it's interesting, and I want to know more about it. It's such an interesting topic. I'd like to know more about it. And I started finding out about the author, Dennis Wheatley, and I was like, wow, this sounds like a really interesting book. So that's why I started reading it. I didn't care if it was fiction or not. I just picked it up and read it because I was inspired by it. It was something triggered in my mind. I was like, this is something I should know more about, So that's why I read, and that's what inspires me to read. Is
it's compelling, yeah.
I think everybody reads for an escape, You know, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, you read to escape what you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis, to learn more about something else, or just to hear somebody else's perspective, right?
Right.
No, so whenever you read, someone has written that stuff from their perspective. You know?
I take a little bit of umbrage at that, and I think that's a valid reason to read things. But I think when people say they read for escape, to me, I get a little umbrage in that, in the sense that I feel like it's sort of demeaning to the work, especially because, like, fantasy and science fiction, people will always say that they read that for escape because it's not real. What happens in those books is not real. You have rocket ships, you have dinosaurs, you have elves and wizards. It's not real. I read that for escape. But I think if you read something for fantasy, like Lord of the Rings or whatever, it's more than just escapism. I think there is value in the arc of the story and reading about these characters and developing an empathy.
From speaking about what you're talking about, Ryan, you know, all the great sci-fi and great adventure, all those stories, the only really good stories are based in something that's real.
I hear
you can't just write about dinosaurs and spaceships and expect it to be great. It's got to have something. And you mentioned Lord of the Rings. You know, what's the story really about? It's about friendship, and it's about, you know, heartache and desire and mistrust and all these humanistic real things that happen to everybody.
So in a sense, I think genre can be just a trapping that just gets you into something that's universal. I believe
if it's good, because it's got to be relatable.
Yes,
you know?
I think that good fiction has universal truths in it, even though it's fiction.
Right on.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
You can pull these universal truths, and they can have value to enhance your life.
Ryan's getting somewhere. Wilk just got here.
I mean, so that is why I write fiction. That is why I write fantasy and science fiction and those things, and I engage. And I also like to enjoy those genres because I don't think it's. I mean, there is just like an aspect of escapism that is like, okay, my life is stressful. I want to have some relief from what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. But I think that the genre fictions, like fantasy and science fiction, can go beyond that when they are done well. And I think it doesn't matter if it's science fiction or fantasy or horror or mystery or noir or I think genre is just a trapping.
Well, you know what, Ryan? You know, like getting to that and kind of lead this in and tie it together with what you guys reviewed this whole season. I mean, I'm just looking at the list of all the books and stuff that you guys read and all the movies, and I think to myself of the episodes that sucked. Not necessarily reflective upon you guys, but upon the works themselves, the works that sucked per se versus the works that were great. You know, like just to take one off that I think sucks is the Lair of the White Worm.
Yeah,
I like it for what it was, but the book is shite, and the whole story is shite. And why? Because there's nothing really. No substance, nothing human behind it. It's just, I'm going to slap, this creature on there and make something out of it. Whereas you take a story like The Watchmen that's got so many different layers
of The Watchmen,
of relatable things that people can think about. You know, being an isolated God and then the whole.
Dole, you're doing great.
I love Dole. Well, just the whole aspect of being like an outsider and all that stuff. You know, there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah. So you look at all the different works that you guys reviewed that sucked, and the works that you did that were great, and it all relates to that. Is the work just because it's sci-fi or just because it's horror doesn't make it good? What makes it good is it does it feel like there's like it's alive? There's something to it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're right. I mean, you look at you compare The Watchmen versus Lair of the White Worm. I mean, Wilco, you're back.
I'm back.
Well, compare those two. Here, put your headphones back in. You hear what Dole was saying. Sit down so you can get on that mic again.
Can someone open that beer for me, though?
Yeah, here.
That's really my quest.
Rick, you got the opener.
Yeah.
I'm on this vision quest where I gotta consume things now, so it's fucked up. Okay, can you just open?
Yeah, he's gonna open that.
All right.
Rick, open that beer for
Dole.
him.
How you doing?
Sit back and get on that mic. Okay. Dole was just commenting, Wilk, about The Watchmen versus like Lair of the White Worm. Now you liked the Lair of the White Worm movie, but you didn't like the book.
Book shit.
Yeah, I think we all had a lot of problems with that book.
I completely agree with Wilk. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Like the movie was great because it had some substance purely out of the art that the filmmaker made, but the story is shite.
There's 3 glasses there.
It's crap.
That's mine. It's right there. That's his.
Okay. I had beard already. That's cool.
Dull. This is
Go
a
on,
struggle. Dull. This is a struggle.
No, I was just saying that if the story is crap, if there's nothing relatable to it, where's the relatable theme? Can you tell me one thing in that story of Lair of the White Worm that you could relate to?
Jabberwocky, bitch.
Other than sex.
Jabberwocky.
Well, the sex wasn't even in the book. The sex was in there wasn't like a sexual aspect to the book. Everyone was just having staring contests, if I remember. Remember that?
Staring contest.
It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yet that director, now let's ask something right here. And Dole, this is something you've talked about. What about straight literal adaptions of books versus kind of taking director's lessons? Like David Lynch. Okay, we're watching Mulholland Drive tonight.
Yes.
Wilk, you were all into it.
Very
David
good.
Lynch, he takes his liberties with source material, but some people...
Which I love.
And when we did Lair of the White Worm, that director, I forget what...
he directed The Who.
Yes.
He did Tommy, the movie Tommy, which is one of my favorite movies. And Dole, it might be a British film. Fuck me, I love it.
But
That's a great film, man.
That director...
Tommy's amazing, dude.
That director, the Lair of the White Worm...
Sam Margaret, bitch. God, I love her.
That was...
it's all about sex, Ryan.
Ken Russell.
Still sexual.
That director took liberties. He didn't just commit himself to the source material. So in general, I don't know, maybe there isn't a general answer. Is it better for directors just to say, you know what, I'm going to ignore the source material, and even though people typically say the book is better than the movie, but is that because the director follows the book, or is it because the director doesn't follow the book?
I think a true artist finds inspiration and they just spit it out. Doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter the source material.
Yeah, they have their own vision. Source material now, source material is bullshit. It's like, source material does not, it's just an excuse to make a movie now. People buy it. We tied into that. Who's that great horror author that we wrote? English gay. What's his name? He had...
Oh, Clive Barker?
Yeah.
Clive Barker?
Didn't Disney buy a bunch of his films?
Right. They bought his books,
right.
The Aberrat series.
They didn't care about source material. People don't care about source material. They just care about rights. And I don't know. I think to make it, I don't know.
Well, but Will, look at something like
true. I don't agree with
Lord of the Rings or Dune. People are sacred with that source material. As opposed to Lair of the White Worm, where no one cares about the Lair of the White Worm source material.
Clearly, David Lynch did not give a flying fuck about the source material. He had fun.
Right. You're right.
And I love that movie.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I like David Lynch, dude. And here's the thing. It's like, okay, better yet, Kurt Vonnegut. He's not really a science fiction writer. He's just a philosopher king. His books are not science fiction in the least. But we discussed them as... I
don't know that, and I would say that in the least. I disagree with that. I understand I disagree with you. He's not easily classified in science fiction, but when you're throwing aliens in there and stuff like that, and you got time travel, that's science fiction elements. It is.
Yeah, good point, Ryan.
The Trail of Famidorians, that's what's part of Slaughterhouse 5 was.
Right.
So, yes, he's more literary, but he has science fiction aspects.
Well, is the Bible science fiction
Dole, you're hanging on, right?
Dole's here.
What's that?
Yeah.
Is the Bible science fiction then? Because the Bible's got aliens and shit. I'm just saying the aliens are there to show his vision. No, Kurt Vonnegut's a philosopher.
Fine, but that doesn't make him not science fiction.
It's not science fiction. I'm sorry. There's nothing. He's not like Isaac Asimov bullshit.
He's not like Isaac Asimov. It doesn't mean he's not science fiction.
He's not science fiction. I'll fight you outside. I've got cigarettes. You fucking...
I happen to agree with Wilk there.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
You think Kurt Vonnegut's not science fiction? So even though he has an alien race in the book and he does time travel and stuff, he's not science fiction?
He's using that to explain other concepts.
Yeah, but it's kind of loosely used in that book.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I agree.
Not really that.
I agree with that, but
outwardly like this is the whole purpose of this book.
Ryan, Dole gets Vonnegut, you don't. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, yes, I believe that Vonnegut is more literary and he's not strongly in the science fiction category, but I'm saying he's not
Vonnegut would hate you right now. I gotta be honest. He would like Rick.
And to drill Wilk's point home, then if that's the case, then freaking William S. Burroughs' book, Naked Lunch, is literary, okay?
I think it is more literary.
It's not.
Oh my God, it's so contrary.
It's what?
And I respect the guy, but it's gibberish.
I like William S. Burroughs as a person. Like I dig that he killed his wife and shit like that. He's violent.
You dig that? I thought that was your biggest problem with him.
It is, but I dig that he actually did something in his life.
Oh, Jesus, it all comes out now.
I don't want to kill anyone.
Okay, let's discuss right now. Dole, as an insider outsider to this podcast, the guy who wrote the theme music, who has been on as a guest in the episode, but you're also, you're not the regular host. What is your takeaway from this podcast? Do you have any favorite parts or least favorite parts? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I always enjoyed your guys, the three of you, your interactions and your discussions. Yeah. When you were all fully engaged. If you all really enjoyed reading and watching the work, those episodes really shone through, I think, or shined through. I could say like The Watchmen is a good episode.
It was all right.
I think the Hellraiser episode was really good.
I like that one.
Oh yeah, we brought Beam back for that one.
Yeah, Beam.
I really enjoyed those episodes, and I enjoyed participating in them too. I think it was a good. I think it's a unique concept to not necessarily unique, like no one's ever thought of talking about and comparing books and movies. But I think in this particular media avenue, it's something unique, and also the fact that it's a niche in just sci-fi. It would be interesting to see if you guys decide to revisit this podcast at some point to explore how to make it a little bit more unique and make it a little bit more niche-y. That would be kind of cool. I think you guys hit some high points, some low points. I think it was a good learning experience for all of you, and it was fun to watch and fun to listen. I was an avid fan myself. I never really listened to much podcasts at all before listening to you guys, and you kind of turned me on to the medium. And since then, I have listened to and partaken.
Should we continue this, guys?
Other podcasts. I always listen to every episode you guys did, so I enjoyed it.
God, Dole, he goes, it's a bunny.
Well, put your headphones on.
Why?
So you can hear Dole.
I can hear Dole without, God damn it.
Look, I'm the voice in his head right now, don't you realize?
Hi, Dole.
Hi.
Hey, Ryan, just wrap it up. Dole.
What?
Talking to you.
Dole.
Great. Beam, sorry you couldn't make it. Dave Allen, where the fuck are you?
Where are you guys going?
We're gonna get out of here, have a cigarette.
Can you hear this, Dole?
I can't hear it, yeah. I think you guys are wrapping this up, which sounds about right because we're not really even talking about the podcast anymore.
Now, I'm in the basement of Wilk's house by myself, talking to you, Wilk, and
Dole.
Talking to you, Dole, and everyone's gone. They literally got up and walked out, and they're like,
I think that was the signal of the death of the podcast.
Yeah, I think that gets to the core of why we're wrapping this up. I think we're starting to work.
Getting back to the whole podcast, since we're talking about the podcast finally, after I don't know what the hell we were doing a minute ago.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that, regardless of what happens with this podcast, I hope that you will take what you've learned from your participation in it and use it as a tool to advance your creative initiatives, and maybe you'll revisit this podcast at some point in the future and use it as a promotional medium for your great work, which I think you've already proven yourself as an author, and I know that you'll do great things in the future with that, because I know you have a passion for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode in your life of creative adventures, because I think you've proven yourself to get better and better at those adventures, at those projects, the more you do them. So I'm interested in seeing what becomes of your novel, and hopefully you'll revisit this podcast, like I said, as a promotional medium for your work.
Well,
rather than what it's been.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess I started this podcast as a way to talk about literature, because I believe in fiction, and I believe in science fiction and fantasy, and I wanted to share that with the world, as a hobby and interest of mine. And I tried to do this with people that I thought had similar interests, and I think Rick and Will both do have interest in science fiction and fantasy. But as we kind of went along and we tried to do this on a regular schedule, it's one thing to do something as a hobby when you feel like it. It's another thing to say, we're going to commit, you're going to commit to this and you're going to take it seriously. And it's not always fun. It's not always, you don't always feel like, reading something just because like that's what you got to read for the podcast. as opposed to just reading what you feel like. Even though everyone had an opportunity to put in some input on what we read or what we covered. And I still believe, I believe in fiction, I believe in fantasy, I believe in science fiction, but I believe in also in the podcast medium. I think the podcast medium, I listen to podcasts all the time. It's almost replaced radio for me. I love this medium. You know, I've invested in it. We got equipment. I think between season 1 and season 3, you can see the progression of our quality and what we tried to put into this. And it's been fun. And even, if people are not going to continue, they're not going to be able to listen to us talk about it. I think, the podcast as an outlet, with the freedom of the internet and the availability to people to find stuff that they like. I mean, it's an amazing medium. I love podcasts. I listen to lots of podcasts. And
I think that, the reason that you're interested in podcasts is because it's a way for somebody to tell you a story. And
yeah,
I think that should be really the direction you go in with it. Take all your stuff you learned from this, and take what you're trying to do, advance your career as a storyteller. Why don't you turn that into what you want the podcast to be about, man?
Yeah,
start telling stories in your podcast, your own stories, and gain fandom from that, man, rather than, talking about other people's work, which is interesting and all, but why don't you, make your work the medium that people want to hear? Mm-hmm. Read your book online, and sell that, man.
Well,
people, go off that.
And certainly people have done that. This podcast wasn't about, I didn't want it to make this podcast about my works of fiction. So we haven't done that with this podcast, but, I do want to write fiction, and I'm getting back to my fiction writing, and that's what I've been doing for the last few months, since I've had the opportunity to do that, and that's why I'm closing things out here, so I can get back to writing fiction, which is my main passion. But reading is also a passion, and I still continue to read fiction, and I'm continuing to read things, just not necessarily for the podcast. So I may come back to this in the future when I have time, and maybe, like you said, do this in a different way. But I want to focus first on putting out content and not just commenting on other people's content. It's a weird thing as a creator, as someone who writes fiction, to comment on other people's art. Everyone has opinions, right? We all are born with opinions, and we take in different mediums, whether it's a movie or a song or a book.
I don't think it's a weird thing at all.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to say I'm going to be a critic of that. It's a weird thing to say as someone who is not established, as someone who's not proven themselves, to say, I'm going to judge someone else's work, even though everyone has a right to do that. And I believe that.
I don't think it's a weird thing at all. I'll tell you why. I mean, not as a writer, but as a musician.
Yeah, well, you've made your own content. You made your own content.
I can speak to this very thing in the sense that, like, every genre of music has been in some sort of way a direct reaction to another genre, in so much as to even criticize it. Like, punk rock was a complete slap in the face to progressive rock music. All the hoity-toity, crazy mixed time signature stuff that Yes and King Crimson and all these crazy bands from the 70s were doing. There was very intricate, delicate, and difficult music. Punk rock was like a big fuck you, a big middle finger to that, and said, you know what, fuck you guys. We're gonna show you we don't need to be Berkeley graduates to create music. I'm just going to pick up a guitar and play 3 chords. Boom. Right. That was a critique. That was a critic. And the same thing is happening if you go back, decades, centuries. The same thing was happening with Baroque music and classical music. All these artists, these musicians, these composers were creating art in a complete reaction and in criticism, sometimes in positive criticism and reinforcement of the previous genre of music, or as a complete detraction and like a big slap in the face to the previous genre. And I think the same thing is true across all mediums of art, because the same thing has happened in like physical art, like painting and drawing. Same thing has happened if you look at art in that regard. Look at the stuff that Andy Warhol was doing. People hated it, but he was reacting in response to the other artwork of his day. And people have reacted attracted to him. And, I'm just trying to say that the same thing has happened across all mediums of art. So I think that there's a theme here. And the theme is that when you create work, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is based off of influence from other people's work. And sometimes, either it's influenced in the way that it makes you want to say, you know what, I can do better than that, or it can make you stand up and say, you know what, I want to do what that person's doing. So I think that you have to be a critic. And I think that you by creating this podcast, by reading this work and finding out what you liked and what you didn't like about other people's work, has fed your knowledge and you've created, a long time ago, I remember Phil Anselmo, the famous singer from Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about how bands these days suck, and the reason they suck is because back in his day, it used to be you would take 10 different bands that had nothing to do with each other and mix those influences that you had, those 10 different bands from different genres, and then that would become what you did. He said that the bands nowadays, they take two bands.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
And that's what influenced them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that's totally a legitimate argument. But what I was trying to say is that you've done that by reviewing all this work. You have fed yourself with stuff that you didn't know about, or you only mildly knew about. Now you're more better prepared. You were ill prepared maybe before, but now you're better prepared to go out and create your own work.
Well, I wanted the podcast to be partially about discovery, about finding new things that I hadn't, things that I'd heard about, but I hadn't, for whatever reason, hadn't had time to look into,
Right. Oh, and you eat that stuff up because you're an artist yourself. So yeah, I think that's the way that's my big takeaway from this, mainly because I know you personally, but I think that's the takeaway for me, is that this was it was an adventure, a project for you to broaden your palette,
Yeah.
And I think that it's very important to do that as an artist, to broaden your palette. I've forced myself to listen to music I never thought I would listen to. I'm really into jazz now. I never thought I'd ever really, 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 really like jazz, but now I've gotten to the point where it's a dream of mine to one day be able to be good enough of a drummer to play jazz music, because I feel like there's such a barrier for me. When I see the drummers that play jazz, I'm and I'm just enthralled. I just can never see myself being that good, because it requires such a level of competency and an ability to just pick a conversation up out of thin air and play back and forth between the other instrumentalists, and be able to have a grasp of what's going on. That's just a totally different level that I could ever reach. And but in that sense, it's a lifelong goal for me as an artist, as a musician, to be able to maybe one day, maybe in my 50s, I'll be able to play like that. I don't know, but so I think
hopefully it won't take that long.
Yeah, who knows? But I all I'm saying is that I think it's important to feed your creative appetite. It's very important to do that. So on that note, man, I think I'm out the door.
Yeah, well, I think you and everyone else. So this has been an interesting last hurrah. We did this. Me and Rick decided we wanted to get together in person with the three of us, and we didn't know if we were going to do it in Chicago or Michigan or whatever. And it turns out we came up to Michigan and wanted to bring on some guests and stuff. We had an opportunity with you and with my cousin Mike to come on here and reflect back on this season, and also just the podcast on a whole, and see what we've done. And things kind of went off the rails during this recording, which our podcast did on occasion. But I think the point is, science fiction, fantasy, horror, genre fiction has relevance today. It has relevance tomorrow. It has relevance from yesterday. And I believe in storytelling and the ability of storytelling to enhance people's lives, and bring value to people, and more than just escapism, although that has value in itself. And maybe we're going to end our podcast here on our 3rd season, but we have 3 seasons, 36 books or short stories to look back on for people to check out. And one of the points of this podcast is I wanted to go back and I wanted to read things that I'd heard about that I'd never had a chance to check out. And some of the things I did and they were redundant, but some of the things were totally new. You know, I just looked on lists, what are top science fiction or fantasy books turned into to movies. And like something like Roadside Picnic was a great discovery to me. And I hope that the listeners have that same takeaway. You know, hopefully this podcast will introduce people to authors or directors that they hadn't previously checked out. And that's my hope for this. You know, I did this in part to put myself out there as a fiction writer, but also in part to share my enjoyment of fiction with the world, and to bring my friends who also enjoy that stuff to share our enjoyment out there. And I think what it's turned out to be is somewhat of a tongue-in-cheek experiment with we've had our own quibbles between ourselves, and hopefully that's provided some entertainment along the way as well. Just in the struggle as people in the world trying to balance, you know, life like everyone does. In the sense of you have a job, you have family obligations, you have your own individual interests. How do you put it all together? And I think the podcast itself and the outtakes that follow the closing credits that on the episodes kind of tell a story in themselves about, you know, what it's like to try to, you know, to dedicate part of your life to contributing something for people to enjoy. And it wasn't always a positive thing. Sometimes it was negative, but I mean, it's all part of it. It's all part of the art experience. And I hope people like it. All right.
All right, man.
All right,
I'm going to let you go.
All right, dude. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no sweat.
All right. Later. Bye. Okay. All right. This is Ryan Sean O'Reilly. This is our last episode of No Deodorant in Outer Space. Our final episode.
Oh my God.
For season 3 and forever.
Maybe.
As far as we know.
No, it is.
I mean, it is, unless we ever reunite or something like that.
Should we get some pizza?
So let me ask you, is there any parting comments you guys want to make to the fans? For anyone that's listened to us over the last 3 years.
Are we recording this?
Yeah, it's recording right now.
I'd ask that all my comments be stricken and that I like this and all my words be ignored. I am sorry. I apologize for everything I've said or felt. I am legend. Favorite story.
Good. Yeah. And luck is the residue of design, and I think Will very well knows that. I think Ryan knows that. I know it. Create your own luck. So,
Billy Zane.
Good luck.
Good luck to everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in at any part in the last 3 years and checking us out, and anyone that in the future that checks us out. This is No Deodorant in Outer Space, NoDeodorant.com, signing off.
See you in eternity, bitches.
All right. Good night.
Okay, so pizza?
Goodbye. All right.
Ryan wants pizza? Do you want tacos or pizza?
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode, or to read our show notes and find us on social media, visit NoDeodorant.com. For more information on Ryan Sean O'Reilly and his various works of fiction, visit RyanSeanO'Reilly.com. For more information on David Wilkinson, visit Drycracker.com. For more information on Richard Mell, check out his profile at Goodreads.com. The theme music for this podcast was written by John Doyle from the band I Decline. You can visit him at i-decline.com. Voiceover for this podcast was provided by me, Margaret O'Reilly. Well, that concludes our episode. We hope you've learned a lot. Again, thanks for listening to our show. And always, always remember, there is no deodorant in outer space.
Have you guys ever given her a blowjob? Honestly, you remember?
No,
All right, I'm going to try to call my cousin now. Let's get away
blowjob.
from self-fellatio.
But that's great, though.
Oh, okay. We've all tried to blow ourselves. Don't get me wrong.
Or the producer on whether it should be adapted for TV in a miniseries such a scenario versus a film scenario. Oh, that mic's going to fall.
Wilk is creating chaos. Holy shit over there.
Fix that stand.
What's going on?
Are you guys all together right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're together.
Oh, dude, that fucking mic. Come on, dude. Fix that
It's
stand.
all Unity right now, Mike.
Oh my god! What's going on?
Yeah.
Ryan, pause. Help.
I can't pause it. Just fix it. Get up and fix it.
Well.
This is why I asked you to pass the mirror. I'm sorry. What do I do?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
This is fucking... Yeah.
Over at my place. Right now, Ryan is like positioning. It's like this is like a Mad Max movie. I don't know. God, I'm so fucking scared. Moving. Why do you ask me these questions?
Oh.
I just want to like sit back and laugh with my friends. You're like pointing a microphone. This is like Clockwork Orange. Let's start with the podcast. This is like Clockwork Orange. You're like the bad guy right now, Ryan. You are the bad guy in Clockwork Orange. That's what's going on.
Hey, that was an early episode that we did.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, it was.
No, we should do. Let's go to tattoos.
Yeah. Tonight?
Yeah, seriously. Oh. I would love a cigarette, but like Captain McSmokes nothing over there is like.
Hey, can you put the headphones on? Can you just put your headphones on?
You've reached the voicemail of David Allen.
coming in.
No, I guess I just tried calling him. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Here's Dole.
Tell him to get some cigarettes, dude.
We're jonesing over here. Yeah, there are way too many moments where I would just want to like take a nap right now. You know, like fucking right now, just shut it down.
Ryan, can you get some cigarettes?
Seriously, get some cigarettes.
Dude, I can't get any fucking cigarettes. What do you fucking want from me?
Seriously, get the fuck up right fucking now and go get some fucking cigarettes, all right?
I can't
drive
get
us.
you cigarettes, dude. I can't.
Hey, Rick,
Get your
Rick.
fucking ass up. You are so sober right now. Go ahead
You
and
are very
shut
sober. You're fucking. You're like the eagle. Yeah, you're the eagle of the Muppets.
Will, put your headphones on for this.
I can't.
Put your headphones on.
I'm listening. I can hear you.
1984. You can't hear Dole, though.
No.
Hey, Ryan did ask.
Don't I
quite
know you're
early.
watching.
He's like, hey, I want to make sure I can get pizza later. Does your town have pizza? I'm like, yes, I have fucking pizza, Ryan.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yes, there's pizza here.
Yeah.
In Ann Arbor, Dipsy. Jesus fucking Christ.
Everyone watches.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is there beer I can drink?
Yeah.
There should be there, or there's more in the fridge.
No, I was saying, can someone pass? Last
Here,
time
pass
I
it.
saw-
Pass
Could
both
you
the
guys
fridges.
make sure you have a safe word before you started?
No, it's good.
Give
Ryan,
Will some beer.
Can you pass me beer, Ryan? Since you're like, not Rick. Rick's,
No, dude, fucking fill his beer up. What are you giving it to me for, you idiot? Oh my God, Rick is fucking gone.
Order in the court.
Wilk just handed Rick his empty glass to fill up, and Rick took the glass and just put it next to my glass, like it was going to have sex with my glass, and somehow got more beer through osmosis. That was the weirdest thing I ever saw. Rick, there's 2 beer bottles in front of you. Is one of them have beer in it? Headphones. You gotta get on
I'm
the
right here.
headphones.
Can you hear me, Will?
Hold on, he's got to put his headphones back on.
probably don't.
For some reason, Wilk whips off his headphones.
Well, because they're hot and sweaty.
Okay, hold on. Okay, he can hear you now. Go
All
ahead.
right, cool.
All right, you can hear me all right?
Yeah, what's up, buddy? I have written actually a short story about killing Ryan, though, which I'll read right now.
Well, get back on your mic if you're going to talk about that.
Yeah, seriously, I can read this, though.
Get on your mic.
Okay. No, I wrote
What the hell's that noise?
I wrote a mini novel a few years back.
A mini novel?
Yeah.
You mean a short story?
Yeah, no, it was a novel.
I am so fucking exhausted just listening to you guys. Holy
I know.
shit.
Rick's checked the fuck out.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. I've been putting up with this shit.
Oh, wait, I can't read anymore. I'm sorry. But it's so uncomfortable.
To wear headphones? It's
Yes.
uncomfortable? Why?
Because they're sweaty. They're covered in sweat,
Why
dude.
are you sweating right now?
Why are you not sweating? I think you're sweating a lot.
Dole.
I think you like your sweat.
Oh my God, you have no idea what's fucking going on
No,
here.
you know exactly what's going on. You've been in a goddamn rock band your whole fucking life. You know what's going on here. Ryan's being lame. Rick and I are being fun. He's turned my home into like this. Dude, I think he's going to do some crazy shit, dude. I think he's going to do some crazy shit.
We're in the basement
Oh,
of Wilk's
God.
house. There's blankets hanging up everywhere.
There weren't before you got here.
Double take and triple take measurements.
Why is there
Making sure that all of those things are just kind of going out.
the fuck are you doing? Wilk just knocked everything the fuck over. Wilk, what the fuck are you doing? You're like sliding off the fucking chair.
I'm just existing. God damn it, I'm here.
I mean, you guys can't stand to
just-
fucking hear this shit, right?
Wilk just fucking knocked his mic into his fucking chair. What are you doing, dude? Fix that mic.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, it's harsh, isn't it?
You're the only one with a mic stand, and you're the only one with problems. You have no table in front of you, and you have a fucking mic, and you've knocked it fucking everywhere.
Wilk's always...
Why is it falling over?
Wilk's always fucking creating like beautiful fucking chaos over there.
You're neutral Sweden. Here, like Aaron says. Here, look. Here, it's standing up. I move my arm. How is that my fault?
Looks
Ryan.
great.
Look, Ryan.
Oh my god.
Here, look.
Come on, that's only shit, dude. Fix it.
What am I doing
Oh my
wrong?
god.
Yeah.
It's falling over.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, help me out.
Wilk's having a hard time.
I am having a hard time.
It's
This
repetitive.
is so worth
No,
driving.
I'm running it wrong. We're running it wrong. It's falling over. I just remember it was existing here and it's falling over, dude. I'm sorry.
Like,
Sit down. You got a piss or not?
No, I'm trying to exist.
Sit down. Rick is freaking out because he doesn't have cigarettes. He just ripped off his his headset, and he's fucking ripped. And Wilk just ripped off his.
It's hot.
And no cigarettes is a huge problem right now.
Oh, why would you not bring cigarettes? God damn it, Rick.
I don't know. That's my question. If you're
a 5-hour
addicted,
drive.
just strapped like a rat.
God damn it, grab some cigarettes in the fucking 5-hour drive.
Oh, it's horrible.
I mean, here's the deal. When we're done, can we just do this podcast on the road? Here, let's be serious, dude. Let's go. Let's hear it out.
Yeah, we're gonna take a walk. Dole, we're gonna keep you in mind.
No, you guys can't take a walk. We gotta fucking finish this shit. Where the fuck are you going?
This is it, dude. This is life, man.
Dole, I hear you. I put my headphones back on.
Put your headphones on. Everyone put their headphones on.
Are we going mobile now?
Dole, you're gonna come walk with us.
Are you taking me to the liquor store?
Just
to buy
get some.
cigarettes?
I think Ryan should. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna get some fucking
Yeah,
cigarettes.
why don't you get an interview with the freaking liquor store attendant?
Look, man. I mean, Ryan is always trying to come off as a fucking angel, but he's always pushing the fucking beer too.
I'm pushing.
No, he's always fucking secreting and fucking sneaking and shit.
It's
God,
classic Ryan.
Ryan, you're always fucking.
You're not
really
fooling
just,
with Ryan. You're like
I'm such a jerk.
I don't fucking know you, dude.
I'm gonna instigate things in the shadows. No, you're not. You're not in the shadows. You're like fucking sitting here farting in the middle of the room. And you're like, it's Ryan. He's instigating shit. Yeah, you're so subtle. God damn
Ryan, we're gonna take off on you.
And I'm a living joke. I'm the drunk uncle. God damn. Sweaty. God.
So you don't really want to kill me?
No, I don't really want to kill you. No, I like to imagine you're a character, and the problem is in my mind,
Dave, I'm a real person.
you are, but you're also a character.
But I'm a real person. I have real feelings.
Sort of, yeah. No one has real feelings to me.
You push my feelings to the limit in this podcast. Oh my god,
Yeah,
these 3 years.
But you need.
If anyone doesn't realize, there are outtakes for every episode of No Deodorant Outer Space. Just about, I think, almost every single episode.
Yeah, but
There are outtakes, and they are the story. They are the story behind the story.
Yeah, they're the best part. And again, here's the thing: I'm trying to push you to like not be so robotic and just have fun, man. You're here with your buddies, dude.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yes, that's literally what I'm doing right now. We're having fun. We're hanging out.
Yeah, well, my argument is, I mean, Ryan's just going to be himself.
I love Ryan.
Just fucking let him do his robot thing, dude.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a robot. This is my close friends.
Well, it's like
My close friends describe me as a robot.
your close
life
friends.
is good.
Your close friends are doing a podcast with
That's
you.
a great thing. That's a great thing for your OK Cupid there, Ryan.
Yeah. Robotic personality. Robotic.
How would my
I don't know. I feel like
describe
chicks would dig a robot penis, though, man. I would. If I was a chick, I like one of the big mechanical penis.
Yeah, my friends describe me as robotic.
Yes, or like a human Wikipedia that's boring and remorseless with their boredom. That's how I describe it.
But like everything that you needed to do, I was always trying to help, even though I was just completely in pain and trying to fucking indulge with Wilk in the movies and the fucking pleasures. I was always trying to.
You were such a pleasure
I was
dome.
always trying to get you to progress to get this fucking recording started. And
You were
ended.
such a pleasure dome.
Oh, good job.
All right.
I'm looking at all the images that Ryan sent me.
Wilk, I'm playing this for you right now.
I don't know what you're playing.
Put it on the headphones.
It looks like you guys are literally having a slumber party, like you're 10 years old again in these pictures.
Here, listen. Can you hear that?
I can hear nothing.